Hello everybody, I'm some bald guy, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at every single one of my favorite builds for each Vault Hunter in Borderlands 3. Figured with Borderlands 4 coming up on the horizon, probably won't be playing this game much longer, well at least for the near future, so I wanted to just take a look at each of my favorite characters to use and their specific builds for each one. I'm not saying that these are the best builds for each character, but these are the ones that I just personally enjoy the most. So sit back, relax, and take a look at the nonsense that I've created. Alright, so first up we are going to take a look at Amara. So this character kind of combines the Ties to Bind with the melee build that we kind of got later on in the game with her purple skill tree. But it's really going to utilize the Blade Fury, which you get in the Vault card. I think it's which one? Yeah, this one right here, the Bunker Master. And the cool thing about this one is that all of its damage is going to be translated to melee damage, which is nice. So it's weapon and melee. So we're going to utilize her melee tree along with some other things that increase melee damage and just kind of have some fun with it. So the gear that we're rocking really for this is going to be the Blade Fury, the Face Puncher, and then we also have the Guardian Angel. This is here whenever we change from Ties That Bind to our giant ball of death and destruction. We just kind of keep hitting the orb back. The further we are back with the Guardian Angel, the more damage it's going to do. We also have the Anointment. So, we have Astral Projection. I need to actually change the Anointment on that. But right now it's fine. I need to change the Anointment. But yeah, it's just going to increase your damage on the orb, which is nice. And then the Pointy Psycho Stabber, excuse me. This is also going to do more orb damage. This one I actually have the correct Anointment on. I would like it on this one, but the orb damage increased by 200%. I would probably prefer that on here. And then we have a Revolter for action skill start. Once you activate Ties That Bind, it's going to trigger the Revolter. We got the double fleet, so you're going to be moving faster, which is perfect because we have the Spiritual Driver. Mara's gun damage is increased while moving. The quicker she moves, the more gun damage she's going to get as a bonus. So this is really nice. So you're going to get your splash damage, action skill cooldown rate, which means you're going to be able to utilize Ties That Bind a lot more frequently. And then we also have that nice increase in melee damage. And then we have the Knife Drain Static Charge with melee lifesteal. So Amara is going to be doing a ton of healing, a ton of damage. We see area of effect damage, action skill cooldown rate, and melee damage for the rolls on this one. And then, of course, we have the wonderful Fish Slap, which is just on action skill end going to give us a different element. So that is kind of the idea for this build here. It's really fun for mobbing more than anything, but it can fight bosses. I love how fast you can just move around with the fake grasp. You just face grasp the ground, and then she just starts flying around. It's kind of nice. So that's what I like about this build, is she just moves insanely fast, does a lot of damage, and it just combines my two favorite elements, which is just her melee and then Ties to Bind. I love Ties to Bind. It's amazing. As for the skill tree, we do have a couple points in the green tree because of our class mod. But we are spec'd into personal space, we are spec'd into clarity, and then we have helping hands and mindfulness along with find your center. Is just going to give her some melee damage, which is nice. And then we have spent a lot of points here in the melee tree, obviously. 3 in Trust Yourself for reload speed. We have 5 in Known Mistakes in Nature to increase our melee damage, and then this is going to increase projectile speed and splash damage in our Heavy Rain. And then this right here is going to give us a little extra lifesteal. Like I said, Amara is going to be doing a lot of healing. We have Combo Breaker, which is going to just have a chance to reset her action skill cooldown, which is really nice. And then just more damage increases, and then increased skill damage. Like I said, Ties That Bind, once you pick everyone up, you're going to kill that initial first person that you've picked up, and then the damage is going to spread amongst everyone, which is really nice. And then we have the kill skill, which is going to increase our splash damage, which is nice. And then you can just get elemental immunity and elemental damage resistance, which is really nice. And then we spec down kind of a little bit on the blue tree, just some generic Amara stuff here. I really wish that I could have gone a little further down this one, but it is fine. We have Do Harm, which is just going to give us some stacks here to work with. Fast Hands, just some more reload speed, and then Violent Tapestry, just a point there to kind of get down the skill a little bit more. And then we have Transcend, is going to give me some additional crit damage, which is nice. And then Ascendant is just, well, one, it sounds like my username on games, and 2, it just gives us a lot of additional benefits with the point, which is really nice. And then we have Anima, gives us a lot of status effect stuff there. We get weapon handling and accuracy and fusion. We need to get something to get the tree down a little bit. Plus, the converted damage is really nice. That 1 point there actually goes a long way. We get extra elemental damage, which is nice. Like I said, our Fish Slap is giving us extra damage to kind of work with. We can kind of differ initiate each one. I think I have multiple fish slaps on this character. I have two. I need to get some more. So yeah, you can kind of switch and do different things to give you different elements. We're always going to have shock, obviously, with the revolter, and then Amara, of course, you can change her element type from incendiary, corrosive, and of course shock, which is nice. And then whenever you have someone grasped, you're just going to have extra damage with your gun, which is really nice. And then we have indiscriminate, which is just going to give us some ricochet action. So every single one of our guns is going to have that Jacob's crit effect, which is really fun. So this is my overall favorite Amara. I loved using this variant of it just because, I don't know, it's like my two favorite things combined into one. And I just love flying around the map, picking people up, and then just watching all the red dots disappear. I'm probably going to be giving you guys the most generic answer ever for Zane. Um, I just picked the one Zane that I have where I can do different stuff with him, but it's clone Zane. I mean, you have the skill on the red tree where you just give him like a clone. You give clone a copy of your gun, and so you can give him the grease trap, which is awesome because with the grease trap, as you guys can see, the default firing mode is fire starter. So you will bring out clone. He's got the fire starter mode already. You switch to hot grease, and so you just shoot hot grease on enemies. He's going to shoot that fire starter. That's kind of the gimmick of the pistol, and you're just going to do a ton of damage. And then you have the mantis cannon, which is going to proc all of your kill skills, which is amazing. When this game first came out, Zane was kind of like he was an okay character, but he wasn't fantastic. However, when this class mod, the Seeing Dead, came out, and then we also got the Mantis Cannon, Zane went from like okay to absolute S tier, which is insane. And what I love about it is you shoot the Mantis Cannon, you have all of your kill skills activated, and so you just kind of get to start doing stuff, which is awesome. But anywho, the reason why I went with this Zane, just to show you guys, is because I also have weapons and gear and stuff that I'll kind of flip in and out between my bank that can also be utilized with Sentinel Cryo. That's just something that I will kind of flip around with. But primarily I will use the like digiclone regenerate ammo thing with him. So usually I'll use the generic stuff on Zane, like the light shows, the Sandhawks, the Soul Renders. I'll use different stuff on them too. I think flippers are pretty decent on everyone. I'll also use Tizzies, and I love giving Clone the Hive. I think that is hilarious, and then giving him the Plague Bearer. But yeah, so that's just kind of the generic Zane go-to, is just giving Clone some god tier gun and then just watching him go nuts. Now sometimes Clone can be a little derpy, so that's why sometimes when I'm just kind of running around having fun, I will switch to Sentinel, just because that was like the thing that I started with Zane, and I was really, really hesitant on switching off of Sentinel. I didn't use Clone for a long time, and when I finally used it, I was like, okay, Clone's amazing. And then we also have a Piss Grenade. Obviously, there's a chance that your Clone can throw out the grenade, so this is just going to do the wonders of the Piss Grenade. It's going to just debuff enemies, give you some increased damage. You also get actions, weapon grenade and skill damage and all that good stuff. And then we also have the Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge, the generic go-to relic for this game. And then we also have Complex Roots on here as well. That is a very fun gun for Zane. But you guys can see there's a lot going on here. I don't know why I have Monarchs on him. The whole point of Zane is to run around. It's kind of like Amara, the one I had just showed you guys, where you run around, and the faster you move and the more damage you do. And the whole point of the Monarch is to go to the bipod mode, just stand there and shoot. So that doesn't make any sense. But anyway, we're going to take a look at the skill tree now. We got 5 points in violent speed and 5 points in violent momentum. The absolute go-to fives here for me. You get gun damage while you're moving faster, and then the kill skill, you just get increased movement speed. So these two go hand in hand, which is nice. 2 in cool hand, this is another kill skill, reload speed. And then drone delivery, Sentinel will just drop a free grenade. This is in here in case you want to just switch to Sentinel, which is nice. And then Salvation, also a very cool skill. You only need to give 1 point in this. 3% of damage dealt. You're going to be dishing out so much freaking damage that you are going to be healing like a madman. And then we have one Seeing Red activating an action skill automatically activates all of Zane's kill skills. Additionally, they'll increase effect, which is nice. Then we also have some points from our class mod in Violent Violence and Playing Dirty. Just increase fire rate, and then they'll have an additional projectile, so 2 more kill skills. And then Good Misfortune, another kill skill, just increases action skill duration. And then Death Falls Close, the capstone, which will be increased effect and duration. And then we got a lot of points in Red Tree. Obviously, this is a very clone-heavy build. So 5 points in Synchronicity for the increased gun damage for each active action skill. Zane and Clone will have increased magazine size and then action skill duration. Donnybrook, I love Donnybrook. It is one of my favorite skills on Zane. You get a point from that in the class mod, which is awesome on Seeing Red. But it gives you gun damage and health regen, which is really nice. And then Fractional Frags, this is what I was talking about. We're just perfect with the Piss Grenade. Clone will throw a copy of your grenade mod when it's first activated. And then if the Digiclone is killed, it'll drop a free grenade, which is nice. And then killing an enemy while the Digiclone is active gives a chance for Clone to throw the grenade. So if you have the Piss Grenade activated, you're just having a huge chance of him just debuffing enemies, which is fantastic. Along with him dishing out a lot of damage. And then the first shot from Zane's gun has a chance to also fire a grenade. And the skill has a short cooldown. But you'll get a immunity from guns and grenades. I still think that Moe's needed something like this, the duct tape mod. I know that's something a lot of people have said. I don't know why Moe's doesn't have a duct tape mod like thing on her skill tree anywhere. But yeah. And then we got Quick Breaker. You can just switch places. Whenever you switch places, your shield just recharges and restores health. That's what I was thinking. Okay, I got this mixed up with OU. So when you're in Fight for Your Life, if Clone's still active, you can just hold down your whatever buttons. I'm on controller. Don't hate me. I'm on PC, but I play with controller. So you just basically will destroy Clone. You'll come straight out of Fight for Your Life. So it's just a little extra survivability. And then basically this is just you get more movement speed whenever your action skill's active, which is perfect because you got this going. And then we also have Boom Enhance. This just gives you a ton of extra benefits for whenever Clone uses like a grenade or like consumes it. And then I already went over this skill. Just Clone gets your gun. No points in the Green Tree. Unfortunately, the Green Tree fell off with me. And then the Purple Tree, the Mantis Cannon. You can also do some stuff with the Mantis Cannon, which is nice. A few augments here, which is cool. We got 2 point in Mana Focus. Just increased skills there. Critical hit, health regen, maxed out critical hit damage. Yeah, it's cool there. Then you get increased gun damage and action skill cooldown rate. And then you get some reload speed and fire rate. Pretty good. So yeah, Zane's all about moving fast, doing a lot of damage, and doing a lot of nonsense. I think this is a... But yeah, also your light shows while you have your Clone out basically turn into an infinity pistol, which is kind of funny. If you guys want to check this out, this is just stupid. Like it's never ending. You just keep going. That's what I love about this build. Alright, I was going to try to stay in the order that I did the montage, but we're going to switch up these last two a little bit. So it was between this version of Moe's or the cryo version of Moe's, but I decided to go with the splash or just generic, just doing Moe's stuff. So this Moe's is all about just using splash damage guns, really utilizing fire. As you guys can see, we have a old god, we got the cloning mining tracker, Pearl of Apple Knowledge, we got the Minesweeper on there. We got the Plague Bearer, Guardian Angel with Vanquisher, Rocket Pot. Absolutely love that anointment on this, especially with how good the Vanquisher Rocket Pot is. I love Cub, don't get me wrong. Running around with Cub is fun. But the Vanquisher Rocket Pod is a very, very fun thing to use. And then the Flipper, of course, the go-to SMG aside from the Plasma Coil for Moe's. It just does wonders with her. I think it is like her absolute baby. This is like... It just gets more and more dumb the longer you hold down the trigger. You guys, if you've played with Moe's, know anything about Moe's, you guys know how good the flipper is in her hands. And then I just have some other random guns. This was the Moe's that we were working on in our Ultimate Duo Moe's playthrough that I never really got to finish, but she had a lot of stuff on her, so I figured this would be a good one to just kind of show off. So, got the Sapper, Minesweeper. She's got a lot of really cool things she can do. And the thing with her is the Revolter is definitely an option. But the thing with Moe's is she really loves to use old gods, and that's why Cryo Moe's is one of my favorite ones, is because you utilize the Cryo Old God, and then you basically just rock a bunch of weapons that have the Cryo element on it, like this Plague Bearer, for example. So, that's pretty much it, man. And then as far as her skill tree goes, 3 points in the purple tree just for some extra incendiary damage and some cooldown. We have Fire in a Skag Den, probably her absolute most insane skill. She just gets splash damage, and then, or whenever she deals splash damage, she does incendiary damage, excuse me. And then kill skill, you get just action skill cooldown rate, which is fun. Iron Bear just gets more stupid with this skill. Tor Cross Motion is a very scary skill, but it's also very good. You will probably nuke yourself, so with her, you have to stay back a little bit. Another reason why this is a good weapon is because most of the times whenever I'm jumping into Iron Bear, if I'm remembering not playing like a psychopath, I'm usually far away to where I can jump in and utilize her Iron Bear when I switch to it. Means of Destruction, just splash damage. There's a chance to add ammo to her clip. Pull the Holy Pin. They have a chance to do crit damage, but really the grenades are fantastic because of Vampire. And that's just because the cloning mining tracker splits into two and bounces and hit 3 times. So basically you're just hitting a bunch of times with a grenade, and you're just going to be healing a lot with this. And then you just get more skill cooldown rate, which is nice. And then gun damage, there's a chance of a secondary explosion centered on the target. So you're just going to be shooting constant with the flipper. So you're going to be having a chance to use short fuse a lot. We have some points in the red tree, mostly went to the green and blue tree. We have 5 points in armored infantry. Whenever her shields are active, she gains damage reduction and increased gun damage. And then she has a kill skill for each stack of drowning brass. Gun damage is increased. And then we have experimental munitions. Whenever Moe's or Iron Bear hits a critical, they're going to deal both incendiary damage, which is nice. There's where, like I said, most of the skills are going to be going. Clean Out Lead. They'll just do bonus incendiary damage. They won't consume ammo. Extra incendiary damage. Kind of seeing the kind of a pattern here with the incendiary damage. Let's see, where were we? Then we have redistributions of fantastic skills. Scrappy is a good skill as well. I'm trying to see. Russian Offensive, it's okay. I mean, you just get some lifesteal with that. Iron Bank, you get some additional magazine size. This is cool. The Specialist Bear, that's why the Vanquisher Rocket Pods are going to do a little extra damage, which is nice because it's going to be the same weapon. And then when you come out of Iron Bear, you just have infinite ammo, which is cool. So you just top out of Iron Bear and you just hold down the trigger and it doesn't take anything. And then we have Forge. Moe's is just going to constantly regenerate ammo. Another gun that is really, really fun for her is the Butcher, because the Butcher has a chance to not consume ammo, so that's another gun. The shotgun, you can just absolutely just hold down the trigger and just never let go. And as far as Vanquisher Rocket Pod, it doesn't have to be a legendary. It could be anything. I was hoping there'd be something in here that had it on there. This is another good example. The Railgun is another cool thing on Iron Bear. You can switch to it. Does a ton of damage. And like I said, there's a white weapon right here that literally has that anointment. So find the Iron Bear anointments are not hard. Sometimes they're just sitting on the ground or they're in machines or something. So this all in all is probably my favorite way to play Moe's, aside from that cryo build I was talking about. But we got one final Vault Hunter, and I saved him for last for a reason. Alrighty, so if I had to pick out one build out of this game that was my absolute favorite, I think it would probably be this one. This is what I call fishy flak. I absolutely love using this character. When I first started playing, Gamma Burst was my go-to for flak, just because it was really fun watching enemies just not hit me, and I love using the radiation. Then I did my Vladoff flak series. I really grew to love Fadeaway, especially with the Monarch. And then this stupid thing rolls up, and I went and got the stuff for it, and oh my god. So this one's going to take a little discussing, but it's not really that hard. So we're going to kind of revert back to the Amara build. So we got the Blade Fury. This is going to do gun damage and weapon damage, and the same with the redundant Face Puncher. This is going to do melee damage. We also have the Guardian Angel on action skill and melee damage is going to increase by 100%. And then we also have the Psycho Stabber, which is going to increase melee damage. We also have the Stinger, which, while full, melee damage is increased by 50%. We have a bunch of different Stingers in here, and we have a couple different things in here too. So the goal for this is some melee damage. We have the Knife Drain Static Charge. Sorry, I've been farming with him. I'm trying to find it. There it is. And then we also have the Unleash the Dragon artifact if we really want to use this as well. This has melee ignite or ignite chance, slide ignite chance, and ground slam. But the big thing about it is it gives you 44% melee damage and 28% incendiary damage. So the big thing about this is we're trying to increase the damage of the fish slap as much as possible. And how we're going to be pairing that up is we're going to be using Rack Attack in the Peregrine class mod from the Krieg DLC. So whenever Flak's Rack hits an enemy, they drop a grenade. So it's going to hit an enemy, immediately drop a fish slap, and this is going to dish out a crap ton of damage. You guys can see I got a Peregrine that is solely melee damage oriented. It's going to splash damage radius, splash damage, and melee, which is everything that the fish slap does. The fish slap is just a fish that comes out and literally will just unleash the pits of hell on anything it touches. I can't express this enough. It is a fish, and it just kills things. So this honestly is my favorite build for Flak. I mean, just in general, any character. I love it. So we got Flak. He gets extra maximum health, so does his pet. And then we get extra gun damage, handling, pet damage as well. And then, of course, we get action skill cooldown rate, which is big because that's like the whole purpose of our build, really. Lick the wounds. Pet will come revive you. This is a huge skill. I love this on Flak. While moving, Flak constantly regenerates health and damage reduction. And while still, Flak gains gun damage and fire rate. So you can just stop and call out your racks and watch them go hit stuff. So I'll do a little extra damage. And then whenever an enemy has no target or is attacking a different target, Flak deals increased damage against them. 5 in this, just because you never know, you can do some extra damage. Kill skill after killing enemy. Flak and Flak's pet increase or get regenerates health for a few seconds. Goodness gracious, excuse me. So you kill something, you just get some extra health. That's Flak's big downfall is the health issue and getting it back. That's why I really stick with the Knife Drain Static Charge. It's because, dear God, this man needs to get some health back. So here, Flak and your pet will get increased damage whenever you activate an action skill. Again, you're going to be spamming the living piss out of your Rack Attack. We have no points in the purple tree. I wish this was better because I love this concept with the messy breakup. It's just not really great. We have a lot in the blue tree. We have pet deals increased damage, Flak's gun damage and action skill duration here. Got 3 points in that. We have some more health regen stuff. When Flak's pet takes damage, it takes some back to the attacker, which is nice. Then we got the frenzy stacks. Let's see. You get some movement speed and damage for a few seconds whenever Flak kills an enemy, so that's just some more damage. And then this one right here just makes your pet a lot better, which is cool. And then all damage dealt by Flak and their pet is increased. So again, just more freaking damage. And then we got the red tree. This is where we're going to be dishing out a lot of stuff here. So we got Interplanetary Stalker Hunter kill skill. Whenever Flak kills an enemy, they gain a stack of Stalker. For each stack of Stalker, they and their pet gain a bonus to all damage dealt. That is all damage dealt. So you'll hit them with the rack attack, they drop the fish slap, and you just watch their health get nuked. Additionally, they gain a unique stacking bonus depending on type of enemy they killed, so you're just going to get different stuff, and there's things in the skill tree to fix that, and there's class mods too, I believe. And then you're going to get bonuses whenever you fight different kinds of enemies. We also have, whenever Flak scores a crit, there's a chance their action skill cooldowns reduce, which is cool. When there's no enemies by, you get weapon handling and crit damage, so you can come in, sneak up on someone, just throw your racks out, and yeah, do your thing. And this just makes your hunter skills a lot better, just makes their duration and effect stronger. This right here, you just do damage to like badasses and different enemies. You just get a little more. And then you get whenever you do crits, they're just less likely to attack you. So we have the Scorcher Fighter. God dang it. Oh, goodness gracious. Spider Ant. I think I just tried to say Fire Ant. Spider Ant. Sorry, it's been a day, guys. So we got this. So you're going to constantly get health back, and you're just going to do extra elemental damage, which is really nice. So this, the reason why we're going with this one right here is because you're going to send out an additional rack, which is really nice. So you're going to send out just more. And then you have increased cooldown rate and an additional charge, which means you can do it again and faster. So you go 1, and then 2, and you guys see this just, it's like ongoing. You have very, very quick rack attacks, and you can fight with this build. I know like the idea behind it is to not really fight, but you can fight with the Blade Fury. This gun is usually the one that I'll go to most of the time because it does a lot of damage in its own self, and I don't want to completely just depend on the rack attacks. I want to actually be able to fight on my own. The Blade Fury is mostly going to be for mobbing and smaller enemies, whereas the Peregrine rack attack combination, that's going to be for a lot of the bossing. But yeah, at the end of Borderlands 3, I'm not saying I hope this is the end of Borderlands 3. I'm saying it because I hope Borderlands 4 is fantastic. But at the end of its current life cycle, this right here is probably my favorite build in Borderlands 3. So yeah, I wanted to showcase all of my favorite builds for each character, just because, you know, it's just, I played the hell out of this game. I have very unhealthy amount of hours on my PS4, and then I bought this game again on my PC and dumped a lot more time into it, and so I wanted to give this game kind of a send-off and just show you guys, hey, this is what I've been doing since I've been playing this game. So I hope you did enjoy the video. If you did, make sure to give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, and I will catch you guys in the next video, whatever that'll be.
Don't forget to like, follow, and obey.